I'ma put in work like a champion.
You've cultivated this late model program. We basically were winning a couple races a year, maybe, before you got here. You've turned it into a program that went and won everywhere. Let's talk about that. Let's go through the. I wanted to tell people where you've won. So, Southern National, Motor Mile, Hickory, Myrtle Beach, South Boston, Langley.
Do you have a Josh Berry photo album on your iPad there? Is that what that is?
Yeah. Orange County. Caraway Speedway.
I think he stalked my
Concord.
Instagram.
Is that what he did?
Yeah. Oh, Concord.
Could have just asked.
Anderson. Who goes to races there? Anderson.
South Carolina.
Anderson, South Carolina. I mean,
Martinsville.
Martinsville, and you won the biggest race of the year, the 300 at Martinsville. And when you went to Martinsville, you won everything. You got the pole. You led the most laps. You did. If they were giving away a check for it, you got it. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting here looking at a picture of you holding a $44,000 check from Martinsville Speedway. I think the race paid $25, $30?
Yeah,
30.
30, just over 30.
So you won 44 in a race that paid 30.
That's how you do it right there.
Yeah. I've watched you get married, become a dad. Just really been amazing to see you, turn into the person you are, and all those wins. Did I leave any tracks off? I'm sure.
Probably.
Ace, left Ace off.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's so many racetracks that you went to and won at. So we talked. Well, the last time we had you on the show, we had just raced at Ace. Am I right?
No, the last time was Martinsville, but y'all talked about it.
Oh, we talked about it.
But you didn't
I
have
thought we
me
had
on
you on.
because you
That's
said it would
right.
be too biased.
It would be biased. I don't want to see
He didn't
bias.
want you both. Yeah, he didn't want to. He was worried what the other fellow might say.
So we started. We started the season out. We've been racing in the Cars Tour for a couple years. We've won track championships at Motor Mile, I think, back in 2012. Mm-hmm. Hickory, track champion. Anywhere else?
No, that's it.
We went and raced the Cars Tour, which runs all over the place. Won the championship there. Mm-hmm. So we started the season again, going for another Cars Tour championship. We get to Ace Motor Speedway, and you and Bobby McCarty had kind of had some dust-ups, and it came to a head. It was like, hey, enough's enough, and you parked him in the fence and got penalized for a race, so you didn't get to run the next one, so you had to sit out. And so there was a couple weeks later you texted me and said, hey, man, I don't know, but we might have a shot at the national title. At what point between parking Bobby and that text message, what went on? When did the light bulb come on? Because I think, in my mind, I'm thinking, hell, how in the hell did that happen? You're running into the Cars Tour, so how do you become a player in the national title so quickly?
So, I guess that was right at the beginning of June was the Cars Tour race at Ace, and then the following week was Cars Tour race at Hickory, which I was suspended for, and then their next race was supposed to be sometime in July, and it just got postponed. I mean, they just sent an email and postponed it until later date because of everything with COVID. So their next race wasn't until August, and to be honest, we really weren't fully confident that there would be another race. Yeah. But Hickory was racing every week, and we needed to fulfill our obligations with our sponsors and Connor Mozak and his sponsors, so we just started racing. And the first night, I think I won both races, twin races. I had plenty of cars, and then we went the next week, won one, and then over the next 5 or 6 weeks, we kind of said, that's when I talked to you. We kind of said we were going to see how the next little bit went. And we felt like we won enough that we were in a position to kind of go after it whenever the Cars Tour season started back up. So that was whenever I reached out to you and said, hey, I think we need to forego this.
Do you remember where you were in points? Did you have an idea where you were in the national standings?
No, I think because honestly I caught some flack for it because they hadn't actually updated the stand. Because normally it takes a couple months for them to start publishing the standings. But whenever we decided to go for it, they really hadn't sent it out yet. So everybody's telling me how dumb I am for doing that, but I guess that worked out.
I think we need to explain exactly what the NASCAR Weekly
Let's do it.
It's
do
the
it.
NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Series in the national standings because it is somewhat confusing for anybody that's starting right now. So what is it? How does it work?
So I would say that you take all the NASCAR home tracks, around the country. I mean, everywhere. Their feature division is considered Division 1. So around here it's late model stocks. In the Northeast it would be asphalt modifieds, dirt, all over the country is different. So they score points in a national title, and there's things considered are like starting position, car count. It takes 16 cars to make a full field, so basically you have to race.
So you can't run against 5 cars and count. All right. Yep.
Yes, that's a huge part of it.
Yep.
As well as, like I said, the starting position deal. And you take, on a normal year, I think it counts your best 18 races. This year was 14 just because the season was a little bit shorter. But that's pretty much it. You kind of just put everybody into a hat and see how it shakes out.
So it's got to be a NASCAR sanctioned track. Which, Matthew, how many of those do you think there are? I mean, across the country. I mean,
they're all over
hundreds,
the place, and there's different regions.
And so
whatnot.
the premier division at each one of those tracks could be a modified, could be anywhere, but they are in the NASCAR Advanced
and
Auto.
You can win a region, but the Division 1, what he was going for is the national.
The
title.
national,
So the better the car count, also like.
So
you said,
when you say that their standings weren't updated, that would be hard to have a weekly updated standings based off of all of the factors. You're talking about all the tracks and all those things. I mean, like that would be somewhat difficult to even keep track of where you are in the standings.
Yeah.
But to Dale's question, you had an idea that you were in contention at least.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I felt like we were. And, we just, like I said, we felt like we had won enough and was running well enough that it was an opportunity to try to go for it. And we knew that, at that time we were racing just mostly at Hickory, but there was some other places that were going to start racing, and we knew that we could go there and be in contention, so we just kind of went for it.
This is where it gets interesting for me. Dale, you called me and you were like, look, do you know that Josh is actually, in the running for this national title? I said, yeah, but I didn't know exactly what that meant. And when you're saying go for it, this is where it gets interesting. How do you go for it in the last 2 months?
You just got to race a lot. You can't. I mean, that's really it. I mean, we raced. We raced Saturday and Sunday a lot of weeks. Southern National Motorsports Park raced a bunch of races on Sunday, and we would race Saturday night at Hickory and load up and sleep a couple hours, and then go to Southern National early Sunday morning. So I mean, that's really it. I mean, you just gotta. There's a number of things that was part of it, and then once the points started getting more updated, and I was figuring out our situation. Towards the end, we basically was just qualifying bad intentionally. That way we would start in farther enough back to be able to collect the bonus points if we won. So that was part of it.
Awesome.
And we did that a number of times, and that was a difference maker. That's really what I did. That's kind of what I learned throughout it, that you got 4 extra points if you started 9th or worse, and those made a huge difference in the end. I think if I'd have known that from the beginning, I think I would have done things a little bit differently, just knowing, because it counted my best 14, and I won 24, so that means 10 wins didn't count, and those were all wins from the pole.
Who have you been racing against for this title?
At Hickory, we raced mostly against Ryan Millington and Sam Butler. We were all pretty close. We had a lot of good races together, and then everywhere, Peyton Sellers ended up finishing second. We went and raced him the last month. Pretty much just went wherever he raced and just tried to go beat him.
So that, to me, is probably the coolest thing about this whole national title, and it's been that way for decades. As it whittles down, as it unravels to the very final few events for these local tracks, typically it comes down to 2 or 3 guys that are neck and neck, and there'll be one that is going to have the better crowds. There'll be a driver that's racing at a track that's got a good field, and he's the guy that probably looks like the favorite to win, judging by how the points are racked up. And the other 2 or however many guys that are in this fight have to kind of take it to him or go to him or find out where he's racing. You'll have Barry Beggerly racing somewhere every single week, and he'll have to go beat Max Presswood and Hickory, and he'll have to go down to where Max has raced all year and beat him at his own track to win the national title.
To keep him from getting max points.
To keep him from getting the points. It's really, really it's really how it's the best case scenario for racing and for fans when that's what's going to happen. And so that's what happened this year. It came down to you having to go chase after, you It was funny that you were doing that because you were the guy that is kind of he should have been chasing you because you were the guy with the best points and the best situation. But you decided, you know what, we're going to go keep him from improving.
Him being Peyton Sellers?
Peyton, we're going to go win the races that he's in.
Yeah.
Which you did.
And like I said, when you're talking, like, we were in the position racing at Hickory. This was probably like the next to last race at Hickory. I believe we won. We started from the back and won, but we were watching, the timing and scoring from Dominion, and he just won. We're just watching him win both races, and we were like, no. We're not doing this. Yeah. So the next week we skipped the season finale at Hickory and just went to Dominion Raceway, which where he was, and went and raced him. And we were in a good enough spot too that, the deal with the starting positions and all that I was talking about, like, that wasn't a factor. Like, he had to worry about that. He had to worry about where he started. I just had to worry about beating him. And then that was, that's what we did.
So how many times did you purposely go to where Peyton was to race against him and try to win that race to keep him from getting max points?
Really 3 times, twice at Dominion and once at Langley.
Once at Langley.
Yeah, and we raced each other at Southern National, but we had both raced there. So I mean, it really wasn't. We were going there regardless if he was there or not.
I'm assuming. I mean,
we hadn't went to Langley all year.
I was going to say, like, your schedule now, whatever you had planned on doing, is it a situation where you just like, okay, scrap this? We're just going to.
It's like on Monday morning, Josh and his guys would sit down and go, all right, where is he going to be? Where do we want to be? I guess we want to go there. All right, let's get our Langley stuff together.
Yep.
And that's old school because, like, if you look at historically, like, up where I'm from, Richie Evans, they would send a dummy car and trailer down the road this way, and Cook's guys would be looking to see where Evans is going. So this is like such a throwback, harken to the early days.
This is exactly how
titles.
This was designed to perform.
Yes.
And I remember before I ever started racing late models, hearing about, or even when I was racing late models in the 90s, hearing about the guys traveling. The guy that runs South Boston all year long, he's second in points, and the guy that's running at Ace or somewhere like that all year long is leading the points. Well, at the final couple races a year, the guy from South Boston has to go to Ace. Hey man, you want this title? You got to come get it.
LW mentioned that he was telling us stories about sending dummy trailers to a specific direction just to
throw somebody off.
Yeah, create a ruse.
Yep.
And I'm like, this is seriously what's happening? You guys are like, it's a cat and mouse game of where you're going to race, which honestly, it's got to be hell in the family life, I might say. I mean, you got a little one at home, you got a wife, and you might not know where you're going to race next week, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I heard that one a few times for sure. I mean,
what would Amy say if you were
I would usually kind of mention it, and then she'd kind of blow me off, like thinking I was kidding. I'm like, no, hey, we're running Langley Saturday, and we're just going to drive straight to Southern National after that. And she's like, what?
He texted me. I texted him Saturday. I said, where are you racing? Because I knew that Hickory had the fall brawl. And he goes, we're at Hickory. And I was like, all right, so I'm going to watch. And I watched the fall brawl, and he wins that race Saturday night. And I'm thinking, all right, he's just probably going to set everything in the shop floor till Martinsville. And he texted me, I don't remember when it was, but you're like, we're on our way to Southern National. I'm like, you're crazy.
Well, we really didn't need to, but there was some folks from NASCAR and Advanced Auto Parts that was going to be there. And plus, we just wanted to support the track. I mean, because they'd been racing, we didn't want to just like, oh yeah, we got what we needed and be done. We wanted to run their last race, and we won both of them, but
that plan, that you won both of them.
How many wins this year?
Yeah, how many is that?
26 total, 24 counted towards the national championship. 8 or 9 of them were max points from 9th or worse, and there was a couple from the middle. And then, like I said, I dropped a good many finishes that were from the pole.
Have you heard from anyone at NASCAR? I mean, like, I'd heard that Steve O'Donnell has to, officially declare you. Have you had that call yet?
Yeah, he called this morning about it was like 8:30. I was actually giving my daughter a morning bottle.
As most champions are,
Yeah.
when you get the call, right?
Yeah, I got her up, and then my phone started ringing. It was Steve O'Donnell congratulating us.
Well, he also sent along a little video. So let's see what he has to say.
Hey, Josh. Just wanted to congratulate you on behalf of everyone at NASCAR and the France family on an incredible 2020. championship. To you, to Dale Jr., Kelly, everyone at JR Motorsports, it's been an incredibly challenging year. You persevered, 24 wins, heck of a year, heck of a job, and we're really proud to have you as our champion.
That's cool.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The national weekly champions, I mean, that list is esteemed, right? And even the guy that you were racing against, Peyton Sellers, is a past champion, is he not,
Yes.
Matthew? Tell us, what does it mean? I mean, you didn't start this year planning on going after this. Now you've accomplished it. Your resume is amazing. You got the Martinsville win. Now you're a national champion. Tell us what this means. How do you process this?
I don't know. I'm still honestly processing it because I specifically remember us having this conversation about a year ago after we won Martinsville, and y'all asked me like, what was next? And I said, well, really all that there's left to do really would be to go after a national title, and we've just never been in the position to go do that, and here we are. So it's tough. The hard part or the difficult part for me was like I wish I could have enjoyed a lot of the wins more, but like most of them you're racing twice a night. When you win the first race, you're already thinking about how you got to win the second one, or if you win Saturday night, how you're going to win Sunday. So a lot of times it's going to take some time to process it after the season's over with. Because it's all. Even this week, I wish we had a week off before that race this weekend, but we're busy trying to prepare for it again, and so we really haven't had a whole lot of time to process it yet. But I'm sure I will over time.
I love racing in the Xfinity Series. I love being an owner there, and it's been amazing being a part of that side of NASCAR as well. And there's a lot of, we have a lot of great employees, and a lot of people have come through this shop. But I told Kelly, I said, I don't care what happens, where we go, what we do with our company, JR Motorsports, whether we're Xfinity, whether we're Cup one day, whether we're trucks. And we've been a little bit all of them. We will always have late model cars. Well, whatever we need to do, whatever it is we need to keep in place or the structure, I always want to be sending late model cars to a racetrack somewhere to compete, because I don't know. I just know what that experience is about. I think that I miss that a lot. I think, like Josh talking about not being able to enjoy the wins, like, I miss my late model career so bad, and I didn't enjoy any of it. I was worried to death, and it was the best time I ever had driving race cars.
And you didn't know it at the time.
Didn't even know it.
Dang.
And I moved on to Xfinity, which I had a great time in that and Cup, but not as fun as late models. Because when late models, you're doing it with your buddies, you're doing it all yourself. The reward emotionally and personally is so satisfying. What Josh has done, he could go and race an Xfinity car or a Cup car and become champion in those divisions, but he'll never have the personal reward of what he has done this year. He'll never match it, because he had to be all things, and he had to do it himself, and he knows that. No matter where he goes from here, he won't wear all those hats, right?
Right.
It's incredible. And I tell Josh all the time, and I don't know, he'll maybe realize it. Maybe he realizes it now. Maybe he'll realize it a decade from now. But I'm so thankful for you. When we were racing late models, we were winning like a race randomly. When I got a call that we had won somewhere, it was a shock. It really was. But it was eventful, and I had a lot of different drivers come through the program. But when you got here, and teaming up with you has been the best decision we ever made for our late model program. And the way you have approached it with professionalism, your work ethic, everything about it, you have just been perfect. And you've turned the program into something I never imagined it would be capable of. Winning, being a threat, no matter where you go, is only for a few elite drivers. And those names live forever. Max Presswood, Barry Beggarly, some guys from my past, Philip Morris. Those names will be remembered forever, and you're in that group. You're that Josh Berry is now one of those names. People will remember you for decades and decades because of who you became and the threat that you are when you show up to the racetrack. I never thought in a million years, I dream. I had expectations and hopes, but never that much. You know what I mean? Never that big, and you made it happen, man. And I'm just so thankful.
I mean, like I said, I feel the same way about you. I mean, I can't thank you enough for all you've done for me. I mean, just for you to say that it made it worth it. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't do it without each other.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, and no matter what we do beyond this, it's been something that I'll never be able to equal again. Just the experience for me. I just know that I'll never be able to equal it, and that's great.
Yeah, don't want to.
No,
right.
I don't. So enjoy it. I think that I'll give you the same advice. Some of the best advice that I ever got is enjoy it. And I know you got to get ready for a race this weekend. I know that. But when you do get that moment, don't let it pass. When you get that moment to celebrate it, don't worry about overstating it or over-celebrating it, because you should get everything out of it you can. You'll only be a national champion the first time, one time. We may go win another national championship. We don't know what's in the future, but this accomplishment is absolutely worth celebrating as hard as you want to celebrate it, and feel as proud as you want to feel. Good luck this weekend. It's going to be fun to watch that one.
Yeah, that'll be a big show. Yeah, that'll be a big show.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see you compete in the Cars Tour again. It's kind of cool that with everything that did happen, that you were able to go and capture this national title, but wrap your season up with a Cars Tour race where you've kind of been spending most of your years over the last, racing the last 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, a lot's been made out of us doing that, but I mean, really, for all of us, it was kind of like a bucket list thing to go after. I mean,
Absolutely.
Really, it was nothing against them or.
No, it's just opportunity to present itself.
Opportunity to go do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did it. So
where is this $30,000 race again?
Greenville Pickens.
Greenville Pickens.
Very close. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Driving distance. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Well, buddy. Good luck. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for
I hope
having me.
everybody enjoyed having you on or listening to your story, and national champion.
Yep.
That's right.
Josh Berry.
Thank you.
National champion.
What does that trophy look like?
National champion. I just like saying that.
I'm a champion.
Hey, guys, if you enjoy these videos, which I know you do, go listen to the whole podcast. So much more there in those podcasts. Go listen to them today.
Like a champion.